What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for a Wednesday's 12-game main slate. James, it's a big day of games here before Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thursday is an off day for the NBA. Then we come back with a pretty decent-sized slate on Black Friday. So they're loading up here on Wednesday before everybody has the off day for Turkey Day. We got a big 12-gamer.
Yeah, solid slate, lots of star power, obviously. Couple teams on a back-to-back, including Philly,
Denver,
Brooklyn, Denver, Sacramento, Detroit. So we have 5 teams on a back-to-back, and then the off day. So we should get a full complement of run out of everyone. In terms of Vegas, 235 in Minnesota, Indiana. We only have 2 totals at this point.
A lot of guys are questionable or out already, so.
Yeah, one of them is 218 in Portland, Cleveland, and one's 235 in Minnesota, Indiana. So we'll know more tomorrow, but not much on the Vegas front at this current moment.
We have 2 guys over $12,000 on this slate again, Luka and Giannis. Luka's 12.8, Giannis is 12.3. Jokic is 11.6, Durant is 11K, so these top price guys are certainly getting expensive. Let's jump over to the point guard position. We'll start off, as I mentioned. Luka's at 12.8 going up against Boston here. Celtics may be without Jason Tatum for this game. Currently considered questionable with an ankle injury. Obviously, we don't really love guys against Dallas as it is, but you take away one of Boston's best players here. And I wonder how competitive this game will end up being. Celtics are still one of the best teams in the NBA. They're fine one way or the other, but Luka's been such a monster this year. That said, I'm still not paying the 12.8. He's only paid it off twice, basically, since he's been this high. So I'm out. You get Curry against the Clippers there off of his rest day at 10.8. You get SGA against Denver at $10,200 for him. I think he's faced Denver a few times here at a 48 fantasy point game and a 42 fantasy point game, so under 5x both times against Denver so far this year. Thoughts on the top 3?
Yeah, I think Luka is very tough to get to. It's just one of those like MME plays. If you're playing multiple lineups, you can obviously get to Luka. Curry has been the best of the 3, has the highest ceiling of the 3, 70 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3, so like can obviously get there if you want. It's a tough matchup against the Clippers. They play slow, but no Kawhi, no Paul George, no Kennard for the Clippers. So like, what version of that team is even on the floor?
Right.
And then SGA, Denver on a back-to-back. He's been, although just 45 fantasy points a game, 32 actual, and we know, this is a guy. He's averaged 5 assists against Denver. He's averaging 6 for the year. He's averaging 3.5 rebounds. He's averaging nearly 5 on the year. Like, some peripheral stats may creep up too for SGA. So, I think we can get there. Not my favorite point guard of the day. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate to a guy in the next tier.
Yeah, Halliburton, right? Yeah. $9,500 going up against Minnesota. Was on pace for like 60, 70 fantasy points the other day against Orlando, but he was so good they blew them out, and he didn't really play for like the last quarter and a half. So kind of unfortunate circumstances there, but definitely worth paying off the price tag. There are obviously other guys in this range you can go to, but for me, Halliburton's where I want to go, and then just kind of continue my way down into like the 7K range. Again, like Fox against Atlanta, Irving against Toronto, DeJounte, Garland, like those guys are fine. I'd rather just play, I think, Halliburton at this point.
Yeah, that's the one guy I was pinpointing as well. I think, it's funny. You get a guy, they trade for him for Sabonis, and he's turning into a superstar. And a team that was tanking, or thought to be tanking coming into the year is suddenly 10-6, and it's like, hold on, we're not tanking, and we're going to probably win a bunch of games. And Halliburton is obviously at the charge of that. So love him, 235 total. I actually do like De'Aaron Fox quite a bit. I think Atlanta's pretty bad defensively. We just saw Mitchell and Garland both score a whole bunch of points. Mm-hmm. De'Aaron Fox is tremendous this year. Like, he's been so good in every front. So I would probably go De'Aaron Fox. I don't think I want to go Kyrie I don't even know what the vaccine status. I guess it's probably all completely gone in Toronto because we haven't had anyone sit out. But just was just thinking about it. Like as of baseball season, people couldn't get into Toronto, so maybe something interesting to keep note of. Right? Again, I don't know if it's
I don't think it's an issue anymore.
Okay,
because we would have probably made a bigger deal out of that by now.
Probably, so. Probably. Probably no Kyrie on the back-to-back. Murray, the price is interesting, but the production just hasn't been there. 4 straight games under 35 fantasy points.
It's hard with everything that Trae Young's doing offensively for him to get there. Again, Garland's fine, but I don't know what Portland is going to be in this one. With no Lillard. Drew Holiday 81, kind of interesting against Chicago. Should be a competitive game between the two teams. We gave you 35 fantasy points last time out, so just a bit below 5x return, but he was giving us 45 fantasy points for a run there. So we know what his ceiling can be, and I think his floor is probably 35. So I don't hate it. But then you get into like Fred VanVleet at 78, Kyle Lowry against Washington. Who knows who's going to be available for them? I think they've already ruled out a couple of guys. We know Butler, right, is out. Or Butler might be returning.
Yeah, Butler's game,
out.
Right?
Or is he out officially?
They ruled him out. Yeah, they ruled him out.
And I think I said like Vincent may have been out already.
Yeah, Strus was out, and then they elevated him to questionable, and then the rest of the team is. It's like Butler's out, and then everyone else on the team is questionable.
Questionable, yeah. McCollum at 77 is pretty interesting. I like that. I like that price on him.
I don't hate it.
He's up over 8K for so long, and now you're getting him at 77 is the cheapest he's been since like opening night, basically. So
it's an elite matchup.
Yeah,
as good as
Spurs just playing games for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So I like that for him for sure. Melton on the back-to-back, but again, they don't really have other guys there, so can certainly run them. I know I was down on Anthony Simons against Milwaukee, but that game stayed closer than I expected it to. Probably because he went out and scored 29 points. So, would you run it back with Simons here against Garland and Mitchell backcourt?
Probably. In tournaments only, it's the same scenario. Like he is a very high volume player when there's no Dame. I mean, even with Dame, he was taking 18 to 20 shots a game. Like there is just a high ceiling because look at the games with Dame. 2 assists, 2 assists, 2 assists. Like, Dame had double-digit assists in all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
Dame leaves, 7 assists, 5 assists. Like, the scoring is always there, and then everything else comes with it when there's no Dame. So, I know it's a really tough matchup, but it's one that I'm willing, if I'm playing multiple lineups, to go to in tournaments.
I got 40 fantasy points out of Clarkson last night. Now you got him against Detroit here. I think we can run that one easily at 69. Trey Jones at 61 against the Pelicans. Any interest in him?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like the Spurs were competitive in games, and then they weren't, and then they just started getting blown out by everybody. So I don't know. I'm kind of down on the Spurs unless we find out somebody's out and there's a clear value. I'm a little wishy-washy on that.
Okay. We mentioned everybody that's out for the Clippers. John Wall is in. He only played 22 minutes against Utah. He gave you 30 fantasy points.
Yeah.
He's played a high of 28 minutes this season, but again, maybe with everybody out, he gets a little bit more of a ceiling in terms of minutes played in this game. $5,800 for John Wall against the Warriors.
Yeah, and they played a little bit of Wall and Reggie Jackson together last night too, or on what is today, Monday, or today's Tuesday, on Monday. They played a little bit together too, so that's good to know that they will, and I think they're going to have to. If there's no George, no Kawhi, no Kennard, they're going to play those two together. I still prefer Reggie Jackson because Reggie Jackson is in a really nice groove right now, especially scoring the basketball. Another 27 fantasy points, but if we can just get a ceiling minutes game, as you mentioned, at a Wall, I mean, he is tremendous. The 8 turnovers, not great, but 13, 8, and 5. Super good. We just need a few more minutes. Just need a few more minutes.
If Tatum doesn't play, I would have to imagine that one of the 2 guards for Boston moves into the starting lineup. They probably bump Jaylen Brown to small forward, and then it's either, I imagine it would be White, but still, Brogdon played 25 minutes off the bench, gave you 37 fantasy points against Chicago there in that game. And we know White obviously had been playing really well, struggled against Chicago, only 18 minutes in that game, a couple fouls as well. But one of those two, likely in the starting lineup, should Tatum get ruled out. So just pay attention. They're both pretty decent value options there. Any other guys below 5K for you? Sexton started for Utah the other day, played 28 minutes. Didn't do much, but he did start.
Probably not going to Sexton. I don't think there's anything else. Maybe Terrence Mann, out of necessity. 21
I didn't
minutes
mention Reggie Jackson. I don't know if you did, but I mean,
I did. Yeah, there was a whole thing. No, that's it.
Okay, shooting guard then. At the top, we've talked about Mitchell, Murray, Jaylen Brown. Obviously, there's no Jason Tatum. We play Jaylen Brown. Can have a ceiling game here. Yep. Even though tough spot against Dallas, but they could be without Dinwiddie as well, so something to pay attention to on that front. Bradley Beal at 2,800, 8,500 against Miami. I know he is questionable for this game, but if he's good to go, I definitely have some interest there. Brandon Ingram broke Slate's 52 fantasy points the other night. I know you're not as high on this San Antonio matchup. Could be a blowout scenario there. A lot of guys that I feel like can give you similar production here. Did any of them really stick out to you more than the others?
Nothing. I mean, it's Jaylen Brown without if Tatum doesn't play.
Yep. Anthony Edwards maybe against the Pacers.
Yep, that's a good one.
Is in a good spot there for sure. I mean, if you can pick the right Rozier day, it could be 44. Wrapped around a pair of 20s, but he's giving you ceiling potential at times. I said Zach LaVine was too cheap at 7K the other day. He didn't really move his price tag. He gave you 40 in that game against Boston. I would have no problem running it back at 71 against Milwaukee. I think that's a good price tag for him.
Yep.
Anybody else for you in the 7 or mid 6K range?
Jaden Ivey has a nice floor at 7K.
Anybody else?
6K healed in tournaments.
Sure. Price coming down on him, so becoming a little bit more able to swallow the price.
Clay coming off.
Huerta revenge game.
Huerta revenge getting the Kevin Durant compliment today too. Clay coming off a welcome back to the league Clay game with 41.
Shake Milton's at 55. I think we like that point guard shooting.
Yeah, he was the most He's 75% owned on Tuesday, so I kind of fully expect that to be the case again.
Yep, Norman Powell. Got to think again. Like, are we gonna continue to go back to the norm well here? He was. You said nobody played him on the Showdown slate last night, right?
Nope.
And
nobody.
He went out for 30 actual in that game, 41 fantasy points. So, $5,300 is a perfect spot for him to let everybody down, but. He'll be one of the few guys active there for the Clippers, so a good spot potentially for him. Alec Burks, assuming he'll play the back-to-back against Utah. I don't mind that spot for him there. Opposite of going off was Beasley, came back to earth. I warned everybody that it was he wasn't going to shoot 10 for 18 forever. He didn't. He was 2 for 11, 2 for 10 from 3. But maybe a bounce-back spot for him at 4,800.
He sure didn't. He got all those fantasy points at the end, too.
Yeah.
Like he had nothing going in the first half. I mean, we know what Malik Beasley is. He's a tournament play only.
Right. If Dinwiddie sits, maybe Tim Hardaway at 43.
Yep. He'll probably approach 30 minutes.
Right. Finds the way there. You mentioned AJ Griffin the other day, and he came through. Would you run it back?
Do we have a DeAndre Hunter status?
I thought he's questionable.
He is questionable.
Or
probable. He's probable.
Probable, okay.
Yeah, it would have to probably be Hunter out, but if there's something that goes wrong with Hunter, then I would pivot there. I think that's fine. Also, if Beal's out, Corey Kispert, 32 minutes, 38 minutes last 2 games, 29, 33 fantasy points. If
LeVert remains out, Chetty Osman last 2 games, 37, 29 minutes.
I know. It feels like we're chasing, but he's just shooting so well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely a guy that's not going to shoot this good forever.
He is shooting 40% from 3, so take that for what it's worth, right?
Yep.
So
Terrence Mann is $3,400. I mean, he probably starts, right? No George, no Leonard, no Clint, no Kennard. So
started last game just without Kennard. So
yep. So any other value plays for you?
No.
Okay. Small forward. As we mentioned, Tatum is questionable. Paul George is already out. You got Lauri Markkanen in here against Detroit.
Yes.
Guy continues to just ball.
Yes.
So
yes.
Great opportunity for him there. We talked about Anthony Edwards already. Toby, if nobody's there for Philly again.
Yeah, he's like dominating the second half of this Brooklyn game. So I will definitely have interest. It's clearly like gonna be him, Melton, and
we may have a Chris Middleton return. He recalled by the Bucks on Monday.
Yeah, it's cool. I hope to see him.
Not going to play him.
There's still no time. Well, they're saying there's still no timetable, so we'll see.
Yeah. It's the second time he's been sent down there, though. So
true. Maybe soon.
It's close. It's close. Bojan was snapping early tonight, so 6,500 for him.
No Bay, no Cunningham.
Yeah. Hayward at 63 is a decent price tag. 34, 36 fantasy points the last two games for Gordon.
Yeah, no LaMelo Ball too. So he's gonna be one of the primary options on the offense.
Yep. Josh Hart was one of the only Blazers I had in the playbook the other day. Gave you 17 and 9. Again, I just like Josh Hart when there's no Lillard, so could be another good spot for him there against Cleveland. He does enough of everything that if the shot doesn't have to drop for him, it just gives you some pretty consistent production there. Anybody else for you? Again, we talked about Norm Powell already. If there's no Tatum, would Grant Williams jump on your radar at all?
Probably would have to a little bit, yeah.
I mean, been okay. He gave you a 40 burger like a week ago. You know?
Yeah. I think Grant's fine. Again, he is what he is. He's a low floor guy. I don't know if like Tatum's absence is going to like really help him that much, but it could. I mean, it could.
It will be 25 shots to go to somewhere.
There are 25 shots somewhere. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a possibility it does. And obviously, all these, we haven't really talked about the Heat all that much, but like any of these guys.
Yeah, Struss,
like Caleb Martin,
Kane, Highsmith, you name them. Whoever's in the
Whoever is in, whoever's in. We don't know the answer to that question at all. Who the hell knows? But whoever's in is in play.
Yep. Jalen Williams got 26 minutes off the bench against the Knicks the other day. Again, a little tougher to trust, but is playing. So, how did Winslow do? Only 17 minutes in that game.
Yeah, it stinks.
Oh, Pat Williams. I don't know if we're gonna play him against Giannis, but I just want to give him some flowers because another strong game for him at a low price tag.
His offense has looked really good, dude.
Yeah, efficient shooting, right? Like sucks. There are a couple of games where he's taken 4 and 5 field goal attempts, but he's hit them. Right.
Yeah.
So
he's making threes, but he's been
over
a little
20
better
fantasy points in like 6 of the last 8 games. So, at 4K, like he's definitely in a better matchup. Like we'll probably go back and consider him there. So Stevens has been starting again, low floor guy. So just kind of mentioning that he's been starting out there. Anybody else that's small forward for you? Okay. Yeah, I'm just scrolling down. I don't see anything either. If Hauser starts, I would consider Hauser, but only if he starts. Giannis is at 12.3. Price tag's coming down on Giannis. I like that the price is starting to drop. It just makes it a little bit easier for him to get to the 61.5 we need for 5x there.
Yeah, and he dominated last game, and it didn't even matter. Yeah. That's the problem, and that's what you've been preaching. He literally
37,
dominated.
6 and 7, and he didn't hit you 5x. So.
He dominated that game. Like, we can both sit here and be like, yeah, he was the difference, and it didn't matter because, I mean...
He's too expensive.
Yeah, he's just too expensive.
Yeah, he needed 62 fantasy points for 5x. He gave you 58.
Yep.
Not going to do it. KD on a back-to-back at 11-2. Again, we know what his ceiling can be, but probably not. Probably not a spot I'm going to go to. Towns is in a good letdown spot. I think... I loved him against Miami. I called it out on the podcast. I think he was in one of the first builds I sent you, and then things happened, news broke, and I ended up pivoting off of him. 52 fantasy points, nearly triple doubles. Rudy Gobert was a 0. in that game. Literally
Yep.
took 0 shots. But Towns at 9K against Indy is not bad. It's a good spot for him there. Jalen Smith, Miles Turner on the defensive end there. So I like it. I mean, Zion at 83, we've talked enough about this, right? He only played 23 minutes in that game. It was a blowout. If this one's a blowout, does he play 23 minutes again? Probably. So
Probably, yeah.
Let's see here. Grant's in a tough front court matchup. Don't know if I like that too much. Where's the next power forward? Boucher? Do you go Boucher at 62?
Yeah, I mean...
Simmons at 61 against Toronto? He's a Toronto guy. He's a Canada guy.
Yeah, he's a Canada guy. Definitely could play either of those guys. Scotty Barnes currently questionable, so that would open up some things in Toronto. Like I would look at Gary Trent in tournaments. I would look at Boucher in tournaments.
Yeah, we didn't mention OG, but obviously OG.
OG and all those guys in Toronto would be in play if Scotty Barnes sat. OG 76, pretty expensive,
but Marcus Morris is 57.
He's such a letdown the other day.
Now there's no Kawhi and.
Yeah, I know. It just felt like Kawhi wasn't even on the floor the other day. Anyway, like he just hasn't. Who knows what's going on? Because now it's a new injury. Right. It's a sprained ankle. I mean, it could just be a fake injury, and they're giving him extended time off. But, yeah, Morris is okay. I mean, we know he has that random like 20 and 10 for 40 fantasy point game in his bag.
If Thad starts again, I mean. 37 minutes against Atlanta, vintage Thad game, 42 fantasy points, 18, 9, 4, and 4 steals. I mean, I'd run that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not a coincidence that Nick Nurse keeps playing him because they've won 3 games in a row.
We never understood why he wasn't playing. We're like, why is Thad Young not on the floor for San Antonio? Like he's a good player. So
yeah, if he's in the lineup, I'm in.
Yeah, he's been strong. Who else are you looking at here? Power forward seems a little meh to me after that.
Vanderbilt in tournaments only. He was like crushing. They just limit his minutes. I think they just have too many guys.
Yeah.
Niang is someone you played 1% of.
1% on tonight. Yeah. People will catch on to that though. He won't be 1% tomorrow. Jovic, I guess.
Yeah. He's firmly in play. Pat Will, you mentioned. That's probably it. Unless there's news somewhere else that breaks, I don't see a reason.
Bates Diop.
Yeah, if someone randomly sits for the Spurs, Bates Diop would be in play.
Right. Otto Porter's already out, right?
Yeah, Otto Porter's already ruled out.
If no Otto Porter, no Scotty Barnes. Juancho played 32 minutes against Atlanta.
I'm happy for Juancho.
If he starts, because he was in the starting lineup for that game, so
maybe maybe.
I'm just saying if he starts, it's 3,600. All right, center. The Joker against OKC should be a really smash spot for him. Went for 53 against them earlier. He had 10 turnovers in that game with a triple double. He quadruple doubled.
A triple double. Shout out Jokic.
10 turnovers.
Unreal.
And then he had 66, also a triple double against the Thunder in their first meeting. So the Joker here against the Thunder front court is definitely the top spend up, I think, here on this slate. As long as he can not foul out and not turn the ball over 10 times.
Agreed.
Yep. After that, where are you targeting?
Well, Porzingis, if there's no Beal. Sabonis too expensive. We mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah.
I like the price on Vucevic. I don't know if I'm going to get there just based on recent production.
Yeah, we liked him against Boston. He just didn't do enough, right? Double, only 38 fantasy points.
We're getting this is relevant news to the position. Jakob Poeltl listed questionable.
Yeah.
With a knee injury. So there's your Spurs.
Zach Collins is probable. But Bassey, Collins probably both playing.
And Isaiah Roby's playing minutes too. It's just an absolute. This is what I'm saying. These teams are it's worse than ever. Miles Turner for tournaments.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to get to at the price, but like he does have. We've seen
he's been more expensive lately. So
yeah. I feel like this could be a Christian Wood game, especially if Dinwiddie sits. Like you factor in how much usage.
Did you see
Dinwiddie...
his recent comments though? He said he's asked to play more, but he'll just play his role.
He's asked to play more, so he wants to play more, but he'll just keep doing what he's asked to do. Okay,
correct.
Sure.
He said he's told the coaches he would like to play more after playing just 17 minutes against Denver. And,
I mean, I'm happy for him.
Why would you trade for him and then like not play him?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a weird scenario because they did the same thing with Porzingis. Like, I don't know, like how Jason Kidd. It could just be a Jason Kidd thing, like the way he handles his rotations. You know,
yeah.
I don't know. Tournaments, because the 2 games prior, I know one was without Luka, but he then followed it up like 26 and 28 points before that game. So throwing it out there, if there's no Dinwiddie, there could be a lot of shots.
Do we get a bounce back game from Gobert? Taking some criticism, taking some heat, you know?
And he didn't take any like he had those 4 free throws. Shots. Yeah, and all those free throws came at the end of that game, like every single one of them. I don't know, like where there's no confidence, and he like the price is one that we'd want to attack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's you know, with his rebounding and shot blocking ability alone, like he could potentially get there. I also like a bounce back here from Capella. He wasn't awful against Cleveland, but 4 points, 12 rebounds. Got you 31 fantasy points. I think Sacramento is a bit of a better spot for him there.
Yeah, ceiling rebound game potentially here.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. Plumlee's been very sneaky good this year, by the way.
We've kind of just always mentioned his name and just like avoided him, but yeah.
I mean, again, we probably will avoid him again, but I'm just saying like he's just been sneaky consistent there. Yep. My boy came through again last night, Kelly O. 38 fantasy points there, 5,200 against Detroit. Don't mind it. A little revenge game on his mind here. Was a Piston All-Star last year.
Yeah.
Only 7 shots. He's not shooting as much as he should, truthfully.
Yeah, the offense is flowing through him. That's why.
Yeah, I know. But I just again, dart throw at 52. Where's Bagley? Do we pass him?
He stinks. He's 48.
48. Okay.
It's only a matter of time before I think Jalen Durant.
Embiid's already out, right, dude? Montrezl comeback game against Charlotte.
Nope. If anything tonight showed, it is 100% Paul Reed.
Yeah, but Trezl started.
Trezl started 16 minutes. Paul Reed 31 and a double with 3 steals and 2 blocks.
All right. Well, Paul Reed is 37.
Paul Reed had 19, 10, 3 steals and 2 blocks. Montrezl Harrell is never seeing the floor.
He got off to such a strong start in that game, too.
He did get off to a great start. Montrezl Harrell might be cut. Like
Melvin Gordon, Darrell Henderson just out of nowhere wave.
Yes. Yeah, he literally might just get axed from this team. Like, why do you need Montrezl Harrell on this team? You don't. If that's what you're going to get out of Paul Reed, I mean, that's mini Embiid numbers.
Sure. Well, Paul Reed's 37 then. So
yeah, I mean, we're starting. We're playing Paul Reed. No question. That's
what if he's not starting? What if Trezl's starting again?
I don't care. I don't care. We have Charlotte. He is the same price coming off 19 and 10 and 5 blocks and steals combined. Like, anybody that played Paul Reed tonight, I played 4 lineups on Tuesday. I have 1 Paul Reed. The unfortunate part is I have Keegan Murray in that lineup, and Keegan Murray stinks. So, and maybe he won't stink forever, but he stinks currently. 1 for 7 from the floor. So I'm just, venting on this pod. Thank you to everyone for listening. Paul Reed, John, is just like, he's just the guy. I think it was not a coincidence that when they cut their roster down earlier, like when they made their final cuts, Paul Reed was kept. And then like they signed him. They like re-signed him. And I know like they brought in Harrell, but Paul Reed is just the better defender. And I think they're like, okay, look, we can get we don't really the Harrell thing didn't make sense because they can get whatever they need from Embiid.
Yeah.
And then go to someone maybe a little more defensive oriented. And we saw that on display tonight. So I think whether Harrell, like if you want to play Harrell in one, right, and he gets hot and he scores 10 in the first quarter, maybe we see him play. Maybe they split 24 minutes and 24 minutes. So, maybe there's merit to it. But like Paul Reed's $700 cheaper. He played 31 minutes to Harrell's 17 minutes. He had a double-double. Like, just
you don't need to say it anymore. I agree with you there. Jalen Duran's off to a good start again tonight. I've been touting out some Jalen Duran for a little bit. 4,300 against Utah. I don't mind that one. Bassey, as we mentioned earlier, he's 4,800. Would you run Bassey against the Pelicans here?
If
Pirtle's obviously out?
If Pirtle's out, of course, because Popovich stinks. Again, they started Gorgie Jang like last game. They were just like, yeah, Pirtle's out. Let's start Gorgie Jang. Like, what are we doing, dude? Why? I
didn't see a price for Gorgie Jang.
He's 3,500.
There he is.
It's like that's the thing. Like that is a is a nightmare that you start Gorgie Jang.
Sure. All right. Any other centers?
No, I don't think we really need to. Maybe like Al Horford if Tatum sat.
Okay.
Jovic center eligible for whatever reason. Oh, we didn't mention like I don't know if we said Lowry. I don't know if we said Bam. I don't know if we said either of those guys. We did a blanket
Miami statement.
But yeah, both those guys would be elite plays. They both went for 50 again without Butler.
Yeah, we gets the Washington matchup, so I'm a fan. All right, let's build our lineups here. I'll throw Paul Reed in just at center, and then I'll follow that up with a Jokic double stack of our centers here. 57.8 a player remaining. We could probably get another higher price play in this as well. Let's see.
Halliburton.
Halliburton gives us 5K a play. So Halliburton, Reed, Jokic, core gives us 5K a player remaining. Let's see here. Where did we go down to for some value, guys?
We could play Shake. Well, I don't know if we want to go. Niang was 46. Jovic 41.
Niang. Let's see here.
Terrence Mann was super cheap.
Yeah, Terrence Mann. That's what I want to do.
He was 3,400.
Shooting guard. 55 play, basically.
Norm was 53.
Works. Norm Powell works. So we got Mann and Norm in there. We'll just leave that as it is. Power forward, guard, and forward, 5,500 a player. Did you want to see if we can jam Toby in this? Maybe 43 a player.
Yeah, I don't
tough. Thad? Is Thad center only?
No, he's power forward.
Power forward? Would you run 55? Thad at 55?
Yeah. I would like it more if Scotty Barnes was out, but sure. I think it's fine.
Okay. Two players, guard and forward at 5,500 a player.
Guard and forward. 5,200, you said?
55.
55. Shake is
55.
55, yeah. So is Reggie Jackson. But we have two Clippers. We don't need to play three.
Correct. Let's see here. Is there any cheaper forwards that we liked a bit? Niang is 46.
Ben Simmons is 61 if we wanted to go up a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do... Do you like that spot for Simmons?
He just looked so good.
Sure.
He just looked so good the last couple games. I don't know if we
4,900 guard. Bill Beasley, kind of see if he bounces back.
Yeah, it could be a tournament. It could be a tournament dart for Beasley.
Okay,
I don't hate that.
Well, I clicked on KCP. I didn't want KCP. If Gabe Vincent's active, we'll play Gabe Vincent though. He's 46.
Sure.
So Beasley at 48. All right, lineup. We have Halliburton, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, Thad Young, Paul Reed, Malik Beasley, Ben Simmons, and Nikola Jokic are $100 left over. That is our example here recording for Wednesday's 12-game slate. Get us in Discord if you have any questions. James is on the playbook. We will catch you guys later.